up, guys? John here from the Reaper Blog. We're, I don't know what we're doing exactly today, but I figured since I didn't make a video, I should at least do a stream. So let me know if you can hear me, hear the music, and see my screen and all that stuff. Say hi in the chat if you're there. Music's too loud, no problem. How's that? Is it okay now? Cool. Well, thanks for joining me. The last couple days, I've been mixing a film. Basically, got a film sent to me Saturday afternoon. I had until Sunday afternoon to finish it. It's just a short, like 16-minute film. But as always, there's challenges and workflows that need to be figured out. And I figured maybe instead of making a video, I can kind of go through some of the stuff that I went through making that film with you guys on a stream. That sound cool? So, so let me close these windows and clear this stuff. What kind of video format? I wasn't too picky about it for this. Whatever one they sent me worked, so I wasn't picky. I'll just check that. So the file was 720p H.264 AAC. So yeah, kind of more of a streaming format. What's important is having the embedded time code. Let me drop that in. Drop that into the project too. So when you drop in a video, usually has audio on it as well. So there's a few different things you can do to mute the audio, but sometimes you actually need to reference their original mix. So I just alt-click on the routing button, and that effectively mutes it, but keeps the audio there if you need it. So if I need it, I just solo the track and then alt-click that, and I can play the reference mix. I'll click it again, unsolo it, and there I've got my mix. If I mute the track, then I don't get any video in the video window. And I mentioned timecode burned in. That just looks like this, the number there in the corner. So let's see. I've got this set to frames, and I think I've got my timecode set right. Yeah, I'm kind of just set this up really quick so I can do a demo and create some custom actions. I made this toolbar while I was working on the film. All the audio came on consolidated tracks, consolidated WAV files, and they're all called like Audio 101, which is kind of the worst case scenario for this stuff. But anyways, I had everything I needed. It's just a matter of organizing it. And in my template, I had 10 dialogue tracks, and I just called them DX 1 through 10. I think there's only 8 needed in the project. So I made up these custom actions that would take my selected audio. So I just right click and drag over it. And I click on move to track 1. And it just cuts that, selects the first track, and then pastes. And I found this to be pretty helpful. So I know that this is the first actor, this is the second actor. So I'm just going through pretty quickly, and I can spot these to the correct dialogue tracks. And because of the way the film was edited, inside of the video editor, Final Cut or whatever it was, the audio was all over the place. Every cut, there's a different microphone, and it got pretty complicated. So in between doing this, I would actually be auditioning. So like you can see here, there's 4 tracks of dialogue here, and some of them might be the same microphone. I have no idea how they did the production at all, but I think it's 2 lavs and a boom mic, and then maybe one of those mics was plugged into a second camera. So every edit switches the audio, and yeah, it was kind of a mess. So I got to audition every single sentence, basically. Every time the camera cuts, the audio cuts as well, and I have to figure out which is the best sounding clip for that moment. So as I said, I was making that custom action, put it out on a toolbar, and I think that's working pretty well. I still have to do a lot of cleanup. So that's a matter of going through and fine-tuning all the ins and out points, fading them out. Here, this is a pretty rough edit. I'll zoom in. You can see that it goes from digital silence to a hard click, and then there's lots of rumble on that track. So gotta fade like that. And if there's areas where they're overlapping more than that, then more like this. And having everything on shortcuts is really important. So I've got my fade out set to the letter G and my fade in set to letter F. Is everyone following along? Let me know if I need to slow down or repeat anything. I feel like I'm going pretty fast. I'll just pause there, let you guys catch up or ask questions. Also, I wanted to tell you guys that there's a new Facebook group called the Reaper Blog Community. You want to get there, just go to the Reaper Blog on Facebook, facebook.com/the Reaper Blog. Give the page a like, and then click over on the groups tab, and that will take you to the community page. And we've only been up for a week or 2, and getting close to 300 members. So come join us if you're on Facebook. I'm basically using this like Twitter on Facebook. The Facebook page, I can't post like just what I'm thinking without it. I don't want it to go out to everyone that's liked the page if I'm just thinking like, I'm whatever, stream of consciousness sorts of things, like I do on Twitter. All my social networks have different content. This page will be like my Twitter, or more like my Twitter, and it's impossible to just do quick updates on YouTube. So a lot of stuff just gets put here or just goes to Twitter. So yeah, and I'm always available for answering questions, and it's been a really positive group so far. I think all questions have been answered that have been posted there, and no one's had to wait a long time to get answers. What else was I going to say? I don't know. Robert asked, do you have to deal with OMF, AMF, AAF formats, and how? I don't do a lot of films. I've mixed 3 films total. 2 feature length, 1 drama, 1 documentary, and then this one, which was sort of like a I don't know, romantic comedy sort of thing. That was a short. What I would use and what I have used for the documentary was an app called Vordio from Vordio.net. Now, this takes an XML format file exported from Final Cut or Premiere. You drop it, you bring it into Vordio, it converts it to a Reaper project. So instead of Reaper supporting OMF or something like that, this actually creates a Reaper project, and it extracts all the audio that was used in the original timeline, collects it all so that you can import it into Reaper. It finds all the files, and it makes such a huge difference. It's so much better than working with consolidated files. And this is not ideal. This is not a good starting point for a film. But you can make it work if you have to. So I've done 2 films like this. There's a little more effort to get things started. But the other way, you still have to deal with all the angles changing, or all the audio tracks changing every time there's an angle change. So it kind of all depends on how organized the editor is. So this program, excuse me, this program it's not free. The free version can do a lot of stuff. Let me bring that up. So the person that's creating the converted file doesn't need to buy the program. They can just run this with, I think the default settings will get pretty close. The person receiving the Reaper file needs the full version of Vordio to get, the full. Kind of the demo limitation is that it only does a couple minutes, I think 3 minutes of the film. If you have a license for Vordio, it does the entire length of the film, so 2-hour film is no problem. And it creates the file. I wonder if I have. I don't think I have a file. The old film that I worked on today. Anyways, the person just takes their source XML, chooses an output folder. Vordio handles the rest, converts all of the individual cuts, every angle change and everything. Every audio file that was edited will be arranged in your timeline, and it'll look pretty much exactly the same, and there'll be markers if there's for various things. And it collects all the audio files, the original audio files. So even though, like with this file, if I had this on my timeline converted from Vordio, maybe it only appears this long in the timeline, but you can drag it out and get the entire original recording. So kind of a huge file to transfer. The film I worked on was like 100 gigabytes of audio files. And that took like 3 or 4 days just to download. But it was really good to have everything, because there's so many times where like, oh, this isn't the best situation. So you can go further on in the file, get room tone. You can mix and match syllables for things that weren't clear. All kinds of stuff. Okay, so I've got this toolbar set up, and I'll show you. The toolbar just looks like this. Text. I reset that. That's the name of the action. Move selection, items to track 1. Right, so that's my toolbar for moving the items like I showed earlier. If I need to demonstrate that for anyone that's late coming into the stream, just let me know. What I'm thinking as another way of doing this is to use cycle actions. I have one of them set up already. So in the cycle action editor, I'm basically recreating that action. I should probably show you the action first, the other way. Was it custom? If anyone has a better better name for these, that'd be cool. Let me know if you want to see anything, if you have any suggestions. So move selection of items to track 1, cut selected area of items, go to the start of the time selection, select track 1, paste items / tracks. There isn't an action that only pastes it. It does whatever's the last selected. Or like if you click on a track, click copy, then click then hit paste again, it's going to copy the track or copy and paste the track. But if you last touched an item, then it's going to do the item. So anyways, this one does by a specific track number. And I think it might be more suitable for a film workflow if it goes by track name. And to do that, we need cycle actions and a console command. I showed this, was it in the last video? No, 2 videos ago, I think. Where's my channel? That's the stream. What was that video? The SWS thing that I did. No one remind me. I can't remember what it was called. Adding effects to tracks with SWS extensions in Reaper. So in that video, I was showing the cycle actions for adding an effect to a track based on the name of the effect. And here I'm using a console action to select a track based on its name. So in this case, it's the command S DX1, which will select the track named DX1. And we can test this, open up the console. Let me frame this better. All right, so S is going to only select that track. And DX6, space 6, it's only going to select track 6. If I do a lowercase s and DX3, space 3, it's going to add that to the selection. So we want to do lowercase s. So I've got this custom action started and it seems to work. So I'll just take this section of dialogue here, move this out of the way. I've got my time selection, got my cursor there and everything. Okay, I've already seen an action that I've missed, so I got to move my cursor. It's go to start. I think go to start a time selection. It's got to be in there. There. All right, so closing that. Got my item and area selected. Going to run this. And that's going to go to that track based on its name. I think that's a cool way of working. So if I had, let me make another track and set this up again. Let's call it SFX1 and add a cycle action. I'm just going to copy all these. Paste. And change this to capital S, capital S. And apply. So now that action, once you hit apply, that adds it to the action list. So move SFX. Move selected area. Spelled it wrong. Right. So where's a SFX thing. This is a phone ringing here. I'm gonna run this, and that's put it onto the SFX1 track. I think that's a cool way of working. Downside is that it makes a hole here, and maybe that's not what you want. So I think we can make this even better by copying the item, the selected area of the item, and coloring the original item to show that it's used. I should check if you can actually color. And the other thing I have to do is once I figure out this workflow, I have to duplicate it 9 more times so that I have a toolbar that can do move the tracks, copy the tracks, do it by name, things like that. I think it's worth the effort, especially if I end up doing more of these sorts of films. What do you guys think? Does it make sense? Is it interesting? Yo, welcome. Well, I guess I could do set selected items to custom color. And the red, white, or black, or custom color. Where do I set custom colors? Does anyone know? Anyone in the chat know how to set SWS custom colors? Actually, these aren't even custom colors. How did I make this? Did I make it? Set selected items to custom color 1. Did I make this? I don't know. What a mess. What's a mess? Tell me. Okay, that will work. So if I color them wherever custom color 9 was set. Set selected takes to custom color 9. I can use that. So it's going to split, it's going to copy, it's going to... I'll check if split at time selection, what it does to selection. Okay, it just selects in the middle part. You're on a 720p screen. Okay, what can I do to make that better for you? I don't think I can change my resolution once I start the stream. Did I zoom in? Is it too small or too big? Or just blurry? Okay. I have a hard time seeing the chat at the same time, so let's try this. It's okay? Dave Keel, hey, how's it going? All right, so split, copy, color, and then I need to do a custom console action to select a certain track name. This one. I need to set my position to go to start. Go to start and paste. Non-stop buffering. Non-stop buffering. It's green for me here, so never mind. See, I can't float this window. Okay, so what I'm doing is refining my workflow that I came up with over the weekend for a film mix. I got consolidated WAV files of all the audio that was recorded for the film. Consolidated files is not the best way of working. Every time that the camera angle was changed, the audio would be on a different track, so I'd have to track down things. I came up with a workflow that will move my selection of audio up to a specific track. I did it on a toolbar with tracks 1 to 10. A really simple action, just like cut, move the cursor to the start of the time selection, and then go up to a specific track number, tracks 1 through 10. I made my dialogue tracks 1 through 10. And then it would paste. And then I would go through and go to the next character, the next phrase that's used, and repeat until the end of the film. And that worked pretty well, but if I had to go back, or if I wanted to quickly see which pieces were used in the original audio files, it was a little tricky. So I'm figuring out a way I can copy instead of cut, and also color the original items, or the section of the original items, just the pieces that were used in the film. So I think overall that's a better way, but it's going to be a little bit trickier. Go to start, needs to be before paste. And put that there. I think that's it. Well, guys, if everything's too small on the screen, and you have to watch it now, or if you can't watch it now, then you know, this is automatically recorded and saved through YouTube, so no worries if you can't watch right now. All right, so that split it colored it, and it pasted it up to the top track. I think that's pretty cool. What do you guys think of that? Is there a lot of work for doing audio in films? I mean, do you mean as in terms of work to do once you get the job, or just getting the job in general? I don't actively pursue film work. I could, but I don't. You haven't missed everything. I'm just figuring things out. I still have to duplicate this a bunch of times. Yeah. So yeah, okay, so I'm happy with this action. I think that works pretty well. So I'm going to copy these. Going to make a new cycle action. Oh, sorry, guys. We'll zoom in again. And this command gets changed to SD2. SDX2. And I'll probably use the same color for every piece of dialogue, but if I do this by named track for SFX, then I'll also do a different color. That probably makes sense, I think. So like blue. Maybe I should color it before pasting it. What do you guys think? Should I color it before pasting? Or just let it use the track color? I don't know. I could use 10 different colors and color them first and then put them into the thing. Let me try this again. What is consolidated audio? Consolidated audio is just a long WAV file for the entire film. Whatever was on the editor's audio tracks. So it's just a 16-minute file, but it's unlike music, unlike what I showed in my exporting video the other day. This is not really well organized. It's not like one character per track. That would be great, but it's usually not. If it was like the lav mic for a certain person is always on audio 3, I don't even care if they didn't name it. But it's not. It's different characters, it's different microphones. It's, I don't know. It's always dialogue. These ones here are just like short effects, I think. But all these other ones are all dialogue tracks. And it's just all over the place. The alternative is getting all the original files and getting converted Reaper project through Vordio, and I mentioned that earlier. Where is Vordio? This works great, but it's still a ton of work to actually mix a film. All right. Why Why can't I put all the audio tracks in a folder? I can, but I can't have everything playing at once. I only want basically one track of dialogue playing at a time. What's the final project? Yeah, this is a short film that I mixed on the weekend. Basically like 24 hours. Mix it. Got it on Saturday afternoon. Mixed until like 10 o'clock and then mixed until like 6 o'clock the next day, yesterday. So that's why I don't have a video ready for today. Right, so to duplicate this a bunch of times, let's see. I can export it. So I'm gonna export selected cycle action. This one. I need text wrangler. Okay, so change this to 9 actions. Good old text editing to save time. And I already have track 1. Do I need a 10? I need a 10. No. Getting confused. These ones I don't need. So this will be 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And then this. That. Back here, delete this one. Going to import to track this thing. Cool. Hopefully that trick was useful for you as well. You're doing a lot of custom actions. Chris, yes, of course I'm using Repack scripts a lot. I don't think there's anything that does this. Live streams of Irma? What are you doing? All right. So let's see if this works with track 5, track 6. Yeah, so that works. There's so many good actions or scripts in Repack that I can't even keep track of them all. Like, I updated Repack this morning, and I'm looking at browse. 1,842 scripts now. That's a hell of a lot. So the scripts that I use a lot are things like moving one frame at a time. I think that's a script. Move edit cursor to next frame, move to previous frame. So I'm using that on every video I make, and I used it quite a lot in this film as well. So going one frame at a time, super helpful. I've got another one that goes 15 frames at a time. I'm usually working in 30 FPS, so that works really well. 15 frames is half a second, and I could do a lot of my transitions are that long. Difficult to find the useful ones. Well, you just need to use the filter in the actions window, and hopefully it stands out. It's very hard to know what you have with the scripts, but hopefully they're there when you need them. What else? You could also look in the changelog. I think that's browse, and no, it's in the other one. Manage. Maybe about. I don't know. I think this might help. You can sort by type, and about might have some information, not all of them. If you're not sure what something does, I think this is a new one. Invert selected item fades. I think that's one of the new ones from last week. Yeah, just a couple days ago. So you can see what data was added, and Xstream's really good about putting descriptions in. Although his description is just see title, select items and run. And you can also copy the GIF from it. So a lot of the script documentation is just inside of the script window, inside the editor. But this one was made so that if you had an item, let me find like this item here. I've got fade in. Where's the time? 1 second. Let me just measure this. A 1 second fade on that side and half second fade on this side. Run this and it flips it. And that was helpful, or that was requested because when you reverse an item, the fades don't go along with it. Let me run that again. So it's 1 second on the front end, half second on the other end. If I reverse this item like that, the fades stay the same. You run that and then it fades along with it. You can nudge the edit cursor without scripts by frames. Yes, you can, of course. In the nudge set window. The thing is, I can never remember what my nudge settings are. And I mostly use nudge settings in my custom actions. Let's see. As far as I know, there isn't a way to view what your saved settings are. That'd be really helpful. Does anyone know where saved nudge settings are? If that's even a thing? Eater, hi. Yes, you can ask anything. Dave Keel, do I plan on using automation items when 5.50 comes out? Yeah, a little bit at least. I don't have the beta installed right now. Or not the latest one, anyways. Import clip splicer. Let's check that out. I don't have that one. Can you send me a link to that? How can I export video with audio because I can't figure out I'm new to Reaper? Yep. So I usually do entire projects and I mark my timeline with start and end. So, okay, let's start with that. Start and end markers. You insert a marker. You do equal sign, capital start, and then another marker equals end, all caps, like this. Now in the render window, when you have it set to entire project, it's going to default to this time range here, right? So in my video edits, I often have clips and things that I'm not using, little resources like the lower thirds graphics that pop in. I usually have those all in my template at like 1 hour, and I just move the end marker to the end of the actual video, end of the content. So entire project, and I have some presets saved here, 1080p for YouTube with different frame rates, and my default one is 1440p. That's my screen resolution. And if you're on Windows, you're going to have some different options here. On Mac, you can export directly to H.264. Because of the frame size, 1440p, it's 16 what's the word? Megabits per second. 16,000 kilobits per second, or 16 megabits per second. And AAC 320 kilobits per second. You just choose the frame rate, and if you're not sure what to use, there's this option, get width and height from the current video item or from the project. So I click this, it's going to change that to 2398 and change my frame size. And for 720p, I believe that's 8,000 is the correct number. 5,000. So you can do more, but this is just increasing the file size after a certain amount. Where's my chat window? Does that make sense? Nudge settings are stored in Reaper INI Nudge. Thank you. this came up earlier before you were here, maybe. Do you know where the custom colors for SWS are set? Anyone? Are they also in this file? I'm not seeing nudge. Any ideas? I'm not seeing nudge in here either. Wait, it's right there. Why isn't it? It's here, but find isn't working. What the hell? Okay, well, what does this mean? Nudge 1 equals 290. What could that relate to? Line 786 in yours. I got Docker mode. Can you explain what automation items are? Reaper always gives you a frame rate of 50, not 20. Nudge by pixels? I can't do pixels. It's got to be on the frame edges. That's just how I do it. Or milliseconds. Oh, maybe that's something else I can show you. I don't know. Okay, so I just wanted to see what all my saved nudge settings are, because I don't know which ones are in use, which ones aren't, and what they're set to. I know that I have one that's no, that's not right. There, nudge item contents. This is a thing I just set up. I have it on my MIDI controller, so I can move an item, move the insides of an item by milliseconds. And I love this. Look at that. It's pretty slow, but look at that. That's great. So anyways, I needed to know that so that I could just somewhere I could view what those nudge settings are. Because once you save it, you just don't know what you have. I know that because I'm using saved nudge setting 7, that my save setting is my saved settings for number 7 is nudge contents by 1 millisecond. But I don't know how to retrieve like nudge 8 or 9. That looks like one frame. Yeah, that looks like one frame. Oh, maybe, okay, maybe if I run it, it actually updates. Oh, okay. Yeah, it actually updates in the window when you run one of the actions that uses the nudge. Okay, so that problem solved. I would still like to see something that just lists all that information in one place. Because I don't know I don't want to change one of the saved nudge settings and then break one of my custom actions that relies on it. That's all. Hi from Italy. Hey, hi from Canada. All right, so let's customize this toolbar and add a separator and add all those cycle actions. Okay, for people that were here late, I wanted to mention this group, Reaper Blog Community. It's on Facebook. It's just like a fan page or discussion group for fans of the Reaper blog. So if you want to ask questions, you can reach me there anytime. I'm available through email and Facebook and Twitter and all that stuff as well. But this is a group where you can, find other Reaper blog fans to help solve your Reaper problems. So yeah, that's facebook.com/groups/ReaperBlogCommunity, and you can find it through the groups tab on the Reaper blog Facebook page. So come join us. What's this question? How can I quantize items to grid but using strength parameters like Beat Detective and Pro Tools? You can't. As far as I know, you can't. Or I haven't done it. I think this one will actually. MPL quantize tool items. Let's set this to beats and I don't know. All right, so I've got it slightly off. I can never get items. I can never figure this out. Does anyone know this tool? Is this the right tool for that? I thought that would work. Can't get this to move at all using this tool. Huh. What am I doing wrong, guys? Yeah, the quantize action I usually do, I've assigned to Shift Q, which is quantize items start to grid and keep length. So just does that. If I have this off the grid, Shift Q brings it back. Do I use FFmpeg to encode video? I don't, but I would if I was on Windows. And then I'd probably use Handbrake or something like that to convert it to something that YouTube would want. Oh, yeah, you were mentioning the frame rate thing. Okay, so in project settings video, there's this frame rate option. You can type in anything, but you should match your video item. My video item. To check what you have from the video, right click on your video, go to source properties. Try not to misclick source properties. And then you can see it right here. So this is the video that using. And then you want to export in the same format. Anything that anything I'm editing, I usually don't do 100% to the grid. I edit by eye, basically. I align the transients by eye through moving the item contents, usually this. And I just use a consistent zoom distance, I guess you'd call it. So if I'm zoomed in this much, this looks aligned pretty well. If I zoom in closer, you know, so this would be like, I don't know, 70% quantized. This would be 100% quantized. And this is probably what dynamic split would quantize to. So, yeah, that's why I would do it. I use Reaper 100% for maybe not 100%, but most audio and video that I do. I also use ScreenFlow for doing the screen capture. And yeah, screen capture and sometimes graphic things. Like my intro is made in ScreenFlow. Tune 808 kicks, snare, hi-hats, or any instrument. It depends on the song. You can use item tune. That's in double click the item, and you can mess around with the tuning in here. Pitch adjustment right here. You could also enable a pitch envelope on the item. That's in item processing. No. Take pitch envelope, and that draws a line, and you can adjust that like that, and then it'll play -8. There's that. You can use plugins as well, or just choose different samples that are closer to what you need. Hope that answers your question, Kurt. Most days, if you're using 808 samples and stuff, it's going to be in a sampler, and just use the pitch control that's in there. I think pretty much all of them have that. Resulting videos at 50. Are you remembering to set your export settings? Frame rate set here for your exported video. If you're using the other one, this one, same thing. Yeah, you do need to set them both. So, yeah, often I'm using mixed frame rates in my stuff. So any camera stuff is going to be 29.97. And any screen capture I do is going to be 30 frames per second. So mixing those, I usually choose the one that's going to give me the most problems, or the least problems, by setting my frame rate to 29.97 is what I do my Q&A videos at. And my export frame rate, I think, is also 29.97. Because I want my camera footage to look right, and the screen capture stuff is a little less important in those situations. But yeah, Reaper works pretty well with mixed frame rates. It tries to make it play back at the correct rate, and a lot of video editors will make it play faster or slower and things like that. When's the next Reaper vlog? I've recorded a few things, but it's just such a lot of work. I was going to record something last Tuesday, went out for a meetup in Vancouver at Vancouver Film School. But I don't know. I was just like, I started recording, and it felt weird, kind of being out on the street recording and talking to my phone. It's just awkward. Yeah, only a few people liked those videos, so yeah, I'm not always going to make those videos. I kind of want to, because they get me out doing stuff, but then it also means that I need to spend like 6 hours just working on that video to get it out, stressing about a deadline and stuff like that. What was I doing? I think I was going to take my toolbar thing, not this. I'm going to edit this in Xtrangler. Right. So right now, what I'm doing is editing the toolbar Reaper menu. That's this one here. I'm just editing this so that I don't have to open up each one in the editor and change the number, or change the text to make it double wide. So I'm doing it in Text Wrangler instead. Is that enough? I don't remember if I'm doing this right. So instead of copy selected area to track name dx2, I'm just changing that to copy to dx2. Anyone else have this problem? It just never fits. Maybe I can't have a divider. Want a divider. Why did this one not work? Quantize item positions and MIDI note positions to grid. What genre is more comfortable mixing? Like acoustic folk stuff. Usually pretty good. You can actually be fairly creative with it. You're not kind of... You're a little... I guess because you can... I don't know. I'm thinking of all these reasons to contradict myself. But I think you can be a little more free with the use of reverb and things like that. There's so many different ways to approach those types of mixes. Well, there's lots of reasons to be happy about editing in Reaper, like the fact that we can move items and see their waveforms. Not all DAWs can do that. We can click and drag to change the inside of an item. We don't have to switch tools at all. You just, hit a key command based on where the item is. You can click and drag to make a fade. You can drag the top of like the corners, create fades. You can alt drag to change your fade shapes. Left to right, up down. I love that stuff. If you're editing in Pro Tools, you don't have that. We also have effects chains on every item, and that's amazing. So I have all of these all of these effects running in real time on the item. It's great. And we can click and drag to copy that effects chain. I'll click to clear it. That's only a handful of reasons why editing in Reaper is better. Oh, that's why you're asking. Well, I don't have anything to contribute to that. Just any kind. I never do well in those mixing competitions, but I always enjoy the process. All right, so I'm going to wrap up this pretty soon. Any last minute questions you guys have? I think I've pretty much done what I set out to do. I made that toolbar, talked about stuff. Any last minute questions, guys? Ask a question in the next 2 minutes, please. JS Convolution amp, I don't use it. There's so many great, cheap and free guitar amp simulators that I don't think it's worth using the JS one. That's kind of clunky to use. If you want a decent one, the Amplitube custom shop is okay. New things in it's 5.50. It's not 5.5. Everyone keeps saying that, but 5.5 was already out. New things. I mean, I'm still waiting for it to be released before I make that video. I mean, I promised it in one of my vlogs back in like June, and at that time it was still like late coming out. So it's still not out yet. Lots of cool stuff though. Automation items and what's the other one? Spectral editing. That's a big one that no one's talking about at all. I guess there's other things, but those are the two main ones. There's the other, what's it called? The other layout for the web remote. Totally blanking on that. The number is mostly meaningless. It's, yeah, version number is mostly meaningless. They're, as far as I know, sometimes there's an additional decimal point, but yeah, I don't know. It doesn't, I wouldn't worry about it. It's still a while away from another paid upgrade. All right, guys. that's it for this stream. Thank you so much for hanging out with me, helping me out with these actions. Thanks to everyone that's sending questions, and hopefully back to regular schedule, making videos. This film just kind of like just was sent to me on Saturday, and I didn't have a video prepared already. So like last night when I finished the film, I just didn't want to look at Reaper anymore. I already spent like 12 hours editing and stuff like that. These other questions are gonna have to wait. I gotta go. So yeah. Please join up with the Facebook group. Where is it? Reaper Blog Community. And if you enjoy what I'm doing, please, check out the courses, check out the Patreon, follow me on Facebook and Twitter, all that stuff. So thanks so much, guys. I will see you guys later. Bye.